Okay, Mona Lisa, start the prayer.
Okay, sir. Please close your hands. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahabiryam Karvavahai Tejosvina Vadhitamastu Ma Vidvisabhai. Om Santi Santi Santi. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. We are highly privileged for the presence of Professor Shah Alam today. So now I am requesting Dibbusri, our academic assistant, to say few words about Professor Shah Alam. After that, each student will introduce themselves one by one. So I'm requesting Dibbusri, please start.
Good evening, everyone. I welcome Dr. Shah Alam, Professor of Psychology of Aligarh Muslim University. Earlier, he served CSWB New Delhi as family counselor, Punjab Police Academy as faculty, and also worked as student counselor in Regional Institute of Education, NCERT, Ajmer. He worked as program coordinator of postgraduate diploma in guidance and counseling at the Center of Distance Education, AMU, from 2006 to 2012. Presently, Professor Shah Alam acts as mentor of International PGD in guidance and counseling in Ajmer, NCERT, New Delhi. Academic counselor in IGNU and in charge Counseling Center, Women's College, AMU. 3 books of counseling have been published and recommended by many universities for post-graduation and undergraduation level. Dr. Alam has developed and published psychological test and emotional abuse. He has completed 8 major research projects funded by UGC, ICSSR, BPR&D, New Delhi. More than 50 research papers and articles are to his credit. Professor Shah Alam has presented more than 60 research papers in national and international conference, and many of his research scholars got Best Paper Award. Professor Shah Alam received Best Book Award from Pondicherry in 2008. Calcutta University honored him with SD Memorial Gold Medal in 2008 in its convocation. He received twice Calcutta Award in Malta and Montreal, 2009 and 2012 respectively. AMU awarded Certificate for Outstanding Merit in 2010, awarded Best Citizen of India Gold Medal in 2015, Best Performance in the Field of Counseling awarded in 2016 by Indian School Psychology Association and Excellence in Education Award 2019 by Chandigarh College of Education, Ladran, Mohali. Dr. Shah Alam is member of various academic organizations like IAAP, ISPA, INSPA, and member of board of universities other than AMU, honorary advisor of private sector, and also member of Educational Advisory Board of Journals. Today we are having opportunity to learn from him. Topic of today's discussion is paper 2, unit 3 of school psychology, which is methods, cross-sectional, longitudinal observation checklist. Here I will ask students to give a short introduction of yourself before starting the class. So can we start
they should come on live so that we can see the faces of the students, whether they are willing to listen me or not.
Okay. I'll request Orunika. Can you please turn on your camera and give a short introduction of yourself?
Good evening, sir. Myself, Orunika Ghosh. I passed graduation from Jogmaya Devi College and passed master's degree from Benares Hindi University. Now I am assistant teacher of New Alipur Multipurpose School, primary section, and I am also student of Ravindrik Psychotherapy Research Institute Trust. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Arunika. Can we have Mona Lisa?
Good evening, sir. Good evening, ma'am. Good evening to all my participants. I am Mona Lisa Patnaik. I am basically from Cuttack, Odisha. Now I am pursuing my PhD in marketing management at KL University, Vijayawada, Andhra Pradesh. And I am the full-time research scholar. I am the regular student of Ravindrik Psychotherapy Research Institute Trust, Kolkata. I am the regular student of this course. I want to learn more about today's topic. Thank you.
Thank you, Mona Lisa.
Thank you.
Priyanka, please introduce yourself.
Good evening, sir. My name is teacher, children's school, and student of Practice Psychotherapy Institute and research. Thank you.
Okay. There is some sound problem. Okay. Shayanti?
Good evening, everyone. I am Shanti. Good evening, everyone. I am Shanti Chakraborty. I have done my MA last year, 2021, from West Bengal University of Teachers Training, Planning and Administration. And I am now doing this course on school psychology and learning many things and enjoying this course very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Srija?
Hello, am I audible, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay. Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, sir. My name is Srija Ganguly, and I belong from a nuclear family. I have father and mother at my home, and I have completed my graduation and post-graduation in human development. In first graduation in psychology and post-graduation in human development. And after that, I have completed B.Ed in psychology. So psychology has a very important factor in it, that is counseling, just dealing with mind and soul, which attracts me a lot. So I thought of opting this school counseling course so that I can know more about this field, how to deal with the students in the school. So I'm doing this course and exploring many things, and I'm hoping to gather more knowledge from you all teachers. That's it. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Upasana, please introduce yourself.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, ma'am. I'm Upasana Dash. I'm from Kolkata. I have completed my graduation with psychology from CU. And after that, I complete 1 year family counseling from Jadavpur University. And I am also a regular student of RPRIT. I complete my 3 months clinical music therapy and story therapy from RPRIT. And after that, I complete a preliminary course of graphology. And now I'm studying this course from RPRIT, and I'm very much interested to know about more for this. That's it.
Thank you, Upasana. Sir, we can start the session now.
Yes, thank you very much for introducing me and giving a big, information about me, though I don't deserve for all that. And I would like to thank Devu Bhai for giving me a chance or a space to interact with the students. And another point, I'm very much happy that Devu Bhai has started this course is on school psychology. I think it's a uh, number one, institute which has started course on school psychology. Though we have been doing well in South, but in North, very few institutions or very few universities they have recognized this course, and hopefully in my department, in the Department of Psychology, Aligarh Muslim University, I have given a proposal to start advanced course on school psychology, and hopefully we will get within few months, because we have a long process. It has been passed by the BUS, then faculty, then the vice chancellor approval, so it will take time. And I was thinking that in North India, this course is not popular, but day before study, I got a mail from somebody from NCR that they want school psychology to be employed at their institute. So it's a good sign for us, and really, Devu Bhai is deserve for appreciation for leading this course in north part of the India. Though the South Indian people are very much they are doing well. Anyway, before starting today's lecture, I'm going to focus on non-testing technique. Okay, so I will ask one or two questions from my students just to understand from where I have to start. So anyone who can reply by this answer of my question. Number one, what psychology is? Anybody?
Sir, hello.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, sir. So basically, psychology is a study of mind and soul. About when we interact with a person, we can understand.
No, Sirija, you are not right. Another person.
Okay.
You are talking, Sirija Ganguly, the oldest definition of psychology. So anybody else?
Okay, sir.
Other students? Maybe Devishri or Santi or Arunika Ghosh. Anybody? I will request everybody to come online. Please come online. Hello.
Hello, sir. It's a scientific study of our mental state.
No.
Sorry.
Chakravarti. I will request everybody that they should come online, live, please. Otherwise, it will be monotonous. Arunika Ghosh. Arunika Ghosh. Okay. Arunika, tell something. Don't be hesitate. You people are being trained in the field of counseling, so please interact. Arunika, can you?
Yes, is the scientific study of mind and behavior related with conscious, subconscious, and unconscious part?
Give one line definition. What do you mean by psychology? Anyway,
psychology is bio-behavioral approach.
I will explain. Then what is counseling? Tell me, what is counseling? Anyone? Arunika Ghosh, you tell. You are keeping mum. You please tell what is counseling. What do you understand by the term counseling? No one. Okay. Okay. Then why we use many methods in psychology?
Sir,
Santi,
I-
why do you use many methods in psychology?
Sorry, sir.
Okay.
Sorry, sir.
Why do we use many methods in psychology?
I think in the world there are lots of people and lots of mind, and their thought, their behavior are different. Their psychological state are different. So to understand them and to guide them to make out the things they which are there
Okay,
in mind.
okay. So how things which are in mind are reflected?
Uh, from their behavior.
Okay, this point I wanted to know you that
So,
we, the school psychologist, we, the counselor, or we, the teacher, or we, the father or mother, or anyone, we try to understand the things what are going inside the mind after observing or seeing the behavior of the child or the students or the client or the businessman or anyone. Okay, so basically you try to focus on behavior of the individual. Okay, so behavior is very important for psychologists. It's a reflection of your mind. Whatever you do, suppose you people are attending this lecture. So if you are giving feedback, then I can understand that, okay, you are getting me. If you will not be live and if you will go away, even you are live, then I will think that you are not interested to listen the things. So behavior is very important. And there are two kinds of behavior. One is overt one, another is covert one. We are interacting, we are listening each other. You people are speaking, I am also speaking, you are observing me. This is the external behavior. And internal behavior, this is very difficult to understand, to know.
understand.
Okay, I don't know what type of things are going on in your mind about me. So I don't know, I don't understand. And this is the point where we are interested. Though it's very difficult in India to know the real thing. May the people, if I will put a question that Santi, how you are you enjoying my lecture? If you are, even if you are not enjoying, just to make me happy, you will say that, yeah, it's fantastic, it's fine one. Okay. So in psychology, we try to understand both the overt behavior or the external behavior as well as the internal behavior. Okay. So in psychology, basically we use two kinds of method. One is testing, another is non-testing. So I will discuss something uh, about non-testing testing method, though your syllabi is on non-testing. I will also discuss what are the non-testing methods too and why it is important and how you are going to apply in a school setting and how you will be able to extract the things. Okay. My second question was why we apply different methods in psychology. Psychology is a science. We regard psychology as a science, but it is not 100% science. It's art. Okay. If you want to understand the behavior of your child, suppose you are working in the school. Okay. So there is one school psychologist or a counselor, and he is looking after the thousands of students. And somebody said that there are thousands of minds. So, and in the school, a boy is a student. In a family, the boy is a son. In a market, the boy is a customer. So, you got the three things here. The same person acting in three different situations. If he will grown up, maybe he will in the politics with Didi. Khela hobe. Okay. Then what is the meaning of that khela hobe? How it is going to, change the mind of the people? If he will be the executive, then he will give, he will take decision and he will run the whole organization. If he will be the scientist, if he will go to NASA. So whenever and wherever the behavior is there, you have to understand in different situations, circumstances. That is why we use different methods in psychology. Some methods are testing one and some methods are non-testing one. So in psychology, tests play very, very important role in the assessment of the subject. In psychology, the word subject is used for the human being. When you do experiment, there is experimental, another is the subject. So when you apply any test, you try to assess the behavior of a particular person in a particular situation. Assessment means you try to understand. And by using psychological test, one is able to know the personality characteristics of the individual. So next step is we try to understand the personality. And now everybody knows what is the personality. Personality does not mean the physical appearance of a person. Personality is something, a dynamic. You may be able to recall the Alport definition, you will be able to understand. I'm not going to explain each and everything here. I will just touch the surface. So in one situation, why you are applying psychological test or even non-psychological, non-test, you are interested to assess the personality of the individual. For what? Why? Why do you want to understand? Forget about if a child is not behaving properly. This is one situation. If a child is working hard and getting good marks is another situation. If a child is gifted and slow learner and other things. So how you predict, how you are going to predict his future, about the future career? Being a school psychology, your duty is to understand the behavior of a student and help them to bring out from the problems. But if somebody is interested to know that what I will be in the future, so it helps understand individuals on that basis, predict the future behavior. So you are going to predict the future behavior. On what basis you are going to predict? You are going to predict the future behavior on the basis of the psychological test as well as non-test. Okay. Why we apply psychological test? So that we may be able to understand the covert behavior of the individual. Are you getting my point? Overt behavior we can
Yes,
understand after seeing when he converse with each other, we can understand. When he play, we can understand whether he is a good player or not. If he is runner, we can understand. But what is going inside, that is more important. So to understand what are going inside, we apply testing method. Okay, test. And whatever he replies, then we stick on it. Suppose a student comes to you and he wants that which career is better for me after 11th or 12th. Okay, engineering or military services or medical. So how you are going to predict? So for that, you have to understand the level and the area of his interest. Okay, then you have to understand his aptitude or intelligence level. Then only you can predict that you are going to do well in this area. You got the point? So what are the uses of the psychological test? Tests are the tools provide samples of behavior of the respondent on different time. And through various tests, one can study the behavior, ability, types of personality, interest, aptitude, intelligence, and whatnot. You will find thousands of tests. you will find that, if you are interested to measure the ability, you will find the 100 of tests. If you want to know the personality, you can apply the kettle, you can apply the 5 big factors and others. If you are interested to know the interest level of the individual, you can apply so many tests. Okay. So just to understand human behavior, we apply the psychological test, and sample of behavior are observable. This overt behavior, and to the certain extent and measurable are, they can be understandable and they can be measured. If you see, everybody know the name of Anastasia, no? He or she has done wonderful work, and if you see the definition of Anastasia, a psychological test is essentially an objective and standardized measure of a sample of behavior. When we apply psychological tests, then we can say that we get objective result. But I'm not agree with this. You will never get the objective, result by applying psychological test. The only one reason is that the Indian people, they always tell lie. If I put a question to you that Mona Lisa, as a married lady, when she was in class 12th or 11th, had she has a boyfriend, though she has a boyfriend, but she will not reply in my question, because we are trying to hide our inner self. Okay, but anyway, we can get a glimpse. So, and most psychologists are of the opinion that psychological test is a pattern of stimuli that shows selected and organized responses. Naturally, when we give any stimulus, we will get some response, so which together reveal certain psychological characteristics in the person who takes them. Okay, so these all about the psychological test. What psychological test is this? Then what are the uses of psychological test? The simple question, why we use psychological test, or why we use non-testing technique? Number one, just to help students at critical point of decision making. You people, the school psychologists, they deal with the students, particularly the students of 9, 10, 11, 12th classes. And this period of any student is very, very crucial. Why it is crucial? Because after 10th, they have to choose their stream. Okay, whether they will go in science stream or the commerce or the humanities or the another, or for the higher education, or even for the business. So they are hardly 16 years old. They are unable to make a decision. That is why they used to go to the counselor. Number one point. Number 2 point, in India, the parents, they seize their dream in their child. This is the big point. If a parent is failure in his career, if he is not become IS officer or a good sportsman or big businessman or a teacher, then he or she wants to see his dream in the child. It is another problem. Forget about the adolescent problem, because the parents, they consider he cannot take his own decision. He is a child. And on the other side, the child wants freedom, liberty, non-interference. You will find in every family there is a conflict between the children and the parents. And even you'll find there is a conflict between husband and wife. The wife says that I want to see my daughter or son as a doctor, but father says, no, I want to see the engineer. And the child has some other ability. He can be a good sportsman. He can be, military man. He can be a businessman. So for that purpose, the child has to take a decision. So as a counselor, as a school psychologist, what you are going to suggest? So for that, you will apply what? Interest test. And you will able to identify which area is better for him, either agriculture or scientists or the teaching profession or the sports or the other profession. So if you apply a psychological test, then you can able to predict his behavior. You can help him to see, I have taken a psychological test, and if you have replied in honest way, then this is the number one, this is number two, this is number three. So basically, I have kept in mind what you are going to do in the schools and colleges. So that is on that line I'm speaking. So decision making is very, very important. And once the child has taken decision that he has to go in the biology area or medical work, and if it is wrong, then he will waste time, he will waste money and everything, and his future career will be shattered. So it helps in making decision. And the psychological test help the counselor understand the student's ability, capability, personality makeup, and attitude. Everything you can understand. But again, my point is that if your student is replying honestly, ability. So I have ability in some. Everybody cannot be able to do all the work. Okay, so somebody is able to do some other work, somebody to do some other work. Then ability and capability. If he has capable in some work, you can enhance that. Being a counselor, if you identify something, you can enhance. You can understand the personality, whether he is extrovert, introvert, ambivert, and if you take the big five, then you will able to understand the 5 areas. Then the attitude. Okay, then psychological tests are helpful to the teachers and counselor in dealing with the scholastic and behavioral problems of the students. You will find the students that he is reading well, he is writing well, but his achievement is not up to the mark. And it's a very prevailing problems in the school. He is doing 100% effort, but he is not able to get what are the reasons of that. So after conducting psychological test, you can identify. And maybe a time the child is confused that I'm not getting. He is unable to understand his behavioral problem. Generally, if you ask someone, okay, tell me your 5 demerits and 5 merits, he will not. He will not. Generally, it's a psychology and nature of the individual that he does not want to listen the demerits about himself. Okay, but if you ask Upasana, okay, tell 5 demerits of Mona Lisa, you will tell this. But if I ask about yourself, you will not. So sometimes we do not understand ourselves. So also the psychological test can be helpful in the selection of the students for the admission. And I think every university and colleges now they are conducting the test for even the BA or forget about the MBBS and enjoying on other things. So psychological tests also help in that, and it also helps in choosing the best employees. I think you have heard the name of Parsons. Parson in 1908, he is regarded as father of guidance, and he wrote a book, Choose Your Career. And he pointed out in the whole books, I have seen that book, he pointed out on 3 things. First, you try to understand yourself. Means you try to understand your interest, you try to understand your personality, you try to understand your IQ level, you try to understand your aptitude. Then you try to understand the market, the demand of the market. And then you find the correlation between these 2. If demand, if demands are there and your abilities are matched with the demands, then you will excel in that field. But even in India today, we are not focusing on that. That is why you are lagging behind the Europe. The parents, the guardians, the family members, they push their children. No, you do this and you don't do this. Okay. Then also the psychological tests have so many demerits. Number one, human behavior is often subtle and both minute. It's very complex, very intricate, and non-psychological focuses motivation. So it's very difficult to understand the human behavior. Very, very difficult to understand human behavior because of intricate. So we do not get the right responses. In the beginning, I pointed out that generally we don't tell the truth, we tell lie. So it's very difficult. Even if you apply, lie detector, court does not, accept lie detector. The answer of taken on lie detector. So unless until the students or the any person on whom you are going to conduct the psychological test, he is not uh, true, then you will not get the good result. Then another demerits of psychological test is the classification levels, like we have done our PhD or somebody is doing, we apply some psychological test. You see the average, bright, above average, below average. Huh? So what are the use of that? What are you going to tell? If you say that average, then what is the parameter of that? Though we are doing that.
Sir, hello.
Yes,
Sir, sorry for
yes,
interrupting. Can I ask some question?
yes, go ahead. Who is this, please?
Sir, I'm Srija. Srija
Oh, okay,
Ganguly.
okay, okay, okay,
Yes,
okay.
sir. Sir, you told that lie detectors are used if somebody is trying to modify his answer and not telling the truth actually. Then a
Mhm.
personality test is they are called Eysenck's personality test where a lie score is recorded. Through that you can get the
In
means.
a spite, in a spite of that, in a spite
Yes,
of
sir.
that,
Yes, sir.
you cannot get the objective results. Reason is that
Yes,
the
sir.
human behavior is so complex, so intricate that it fluctuates every moment. In one point of time, you said yes, another point of time, you said no. So
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
it's neutralized.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Definitely. Thank you, sir.
definitely. So maybe knowingly or unknowingly. Okay, if there are 500, questions or 550 questions in many tests, it is more than 500. So I think Devu
Yes, sir.
Datta Bhai will tell the reality about the test. He is a master of that. So I'm
Okay.
just talking about the demerits of that. So you cannot get the exact. Secondly, next point is that psychological tests reflect the cultural background of a race or social class. So if you have developed a test in Kolkata, I cannot apply in Aligarh. Okay, but without knowing all these things, the Indian people, they have already applied so many tests. They borrowed from the Europe and applying in Indian context. I'm giving one example of that. I have visited 6 or 7 countries. The meaning of a street in Europe that you can run 2 trucks simultaneously. But the meaning of a street in India, you cannot pull a rickshaw, even the street. So is there any difference? Yes. But nowadays, the Indian people, they are developing the psychological test in their own culture. And another point is that if a counselor is a very dangerous point, if a counselor is not trained and he is applying the psychological test and whatever the result he gets and he interpret accordingly, it is also dangerous. I'm giving one simple example. On the basis of test, suppose you said that, okay, you are a bright student. Your result says, because you have conducted the test and you found that he is above average and you are telling he is a bright. And in fact, wrongly you are not trained and you have interpreted in wrong way, then what will happen? You have labeled the child, you are bright one, then he will think at this mental level, yes, I am bright. What is need to do hard labor? On the other side of the coin, if a child is, bright and you are leveling that, you are not bright. See the motivation level of that. So these are the some merits and demerits of psychological test, but we have to rely on that so we can get something, and then it is the experience and knowledge of the school psychologist or the counselor that how he is going to interpret. And since these we cannot 100% rely on psychological tests, that is why we need non tests, that is called non-testing techniques. The psychological test, they are standardized. You calculate reliability, validity, and everything. But in non-testing technique, it is non-standardized because reliability, validity are not there. I think there is no need to give the definition of other people, but in simple term, I can say that these non-testing techniques, they lack psychometric properties like reliability, validity, and standardization of. But I will say one more point in this. What are the, because I'm talking with the students, so I want to touch a small point. So you may be very clear about what is testing technique and what is non-testing technique. Mona Lisa, am I correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Is he? I'm on the track or not? Tell me first.
Yes, sir. On the track.
Huh?
You are on the track, sir.
Okay, Santi.
You're telling me good.
He's focusing. She is focusing much. Santi Chakravarti.
Sir, I have one question. Though I don't know, will it be proper way to ask you now? Because may I ask this question?
See, it is an interaction. It is not a lecture. So you are free to ask anytime.
One question is lurking in my mind from the very beginning. There's we call passion for a career. I am very passionate about teaching profession or doctor, etc., etc. Different people, different mind, and different their passions. So, should we lead students towards their passion to follow? Is it scientific?
You see, passion is one aspect, and ability is another aspect. If it match with the ability or the requirement, go ahead. I'm again putting one example. Saurav Ganguly from your place. I have met him. Okay, I have photographs with him. I have talked with Saurav Ganguly and the wife. Okay. So I'm giving an example of cricket. A Calcuttian child wants to be a cricketer. Okay, but his reaction time is not up to the mark. So passion will not work with it here. Clear?
Okay. So then, how we can lead them that okay. It is your passion, but it can't be your career. How we can prove it?
Okay. You conduct psychological test. Okay, and 4 things you try to find out, like personality. Suppose he has passion in sports. So you see the qualities of a good sports person. Okay. Generally, the sports person are ambivert, not too much shy, not too much isolated or active, very much active. But Ganguly was very active. Okay. Then you just find out the IQ level. A certain level of IQ level is required. Okay. Then you try to find out interest test. So is there. Okay. Then ability, whether you can enhance or not, something from inside or not. एक बुद्धू को, मैं बुद्धू वर्ड मैं वो नॉट इन रॉन्ग वे, एक बुद्धू को बहुत आप करके आप क्या कर सकते हो, एवरेज तक ला सकते हो. बट नाउ लेकिन आज के जमाने में क्या है, यू नीड एक्सेलेंट, एंड एवरीबॉडी कैन नॉट बी एक्सेलेंट, बट every person has some quality
special.
So in spite is in place of telling that your passion is not good, So you leave it. You say you are be suited in that one. So you have to replace his passion.
Okay.
Okay.
So
You
that
got my
means,
point?
hello,
Yeah.
Okay.
can I tell, sir?
Thank you,
So
sir.
that means at that time we have to do a career counseling a bit by telling this.
Yes, yes. A student is very much. He says, my passion is become a doctor. Okay.
Yes,
And
sir.
when you took the test, his interest area is not, medical profession comes on the third. So you cannot. So you can replace this, that your uh, this interest is number one is this. So you can do this.
Yes,
Directly
sir.
you cannot, directly you cannot, demotivate the child, but you give the replacement. Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
counseling
But
job is
sir,
not
I would,
easy.
yes, sir, very difficult. But I would like to add something here. Actually, when we were in schools, we have faced this difficult situation. Especially, I was not at all good in maths and science. So I used to face this problem, whenever I used to ask the second time a question to my teacher, she used to behave like I have run away from a jungle and came into the class. I'm not at all etiquetted and all. So she used to behave very rudely, and I have faced these situations a lot. At that time, I used to come back home and sit back and just demotivated a lot. So I think at that time they did not have that proper training, which we have, which we are getting now at this time. I'm
Yeah,
sorry
you
if I'm
see
hurting
yeah, no,
anyone.
no, you are right. No, no,
Yes,
I'm
sir.
telling one
Yes,
more
sir.
thing in support of you. Don't worry.
Yes,
It's a
sir.
duty of the school psychology and counselor to look after the students as well as the teachers.
Yes, sir.
But teachers are not going to accept you.
Yes, yes.
This is a big problem.
This
We are
is a
living in
big
India.
problem.
Yeah. You see,
Yes.
when I passed my high school, so I had joint family. So my guardians, they called me, okay, you prepare for mathematics or engineering. And I was knowing my ability that in high school, I just pass, just got 40 to 55% in mathematics and science subject. But in English, I got more than 80%. In Persian, more got 90%. In Hindi, I got 80%. In social studies, 85%. Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
I went to my grandfather and I said, okay, I do not understand mathematics. And I gave one example that a plus b whole square is equal to a square plus 2ab plus b square. I don't understand this. Then he called my uncle, my father, and everyone. And he said, see, I was not much educated. I was only third class pass. And I left you all people, you do or you choose your career in which you are interested. And you people are educated, you are engineer and you are teacher and you are this and this. Why you are putting pressure on that? This is the situation. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So, so why you are employed in the school situation? You are employed so that you can give the proper direction. Okay, proper counseling. Not only the student, but the teacher and the parents. School psychology, it says that along with the student, you have to work with the community, you have to work with the teacher, you have to work with the parents. Okay,
Yes, sir.
I
Yes,
think
sir.
the point is clear. So
Yes, sir.
I want to make some difference between the psychological assessment and psychological test, that is testing and non-testing. Okay, should I, or
Yes,
you
sir.
know the difference between these two? Okay, I'm not going to explain, but I will just tell you. Assessment is a broader term. Okay, whereas testing is a narrow term. Why? Reason is that uh, in non-testing technique, you have observation method, you have checklist, you have cross culture, you have the rating skills, you have the autobiography. But big point is that your observation and psychological test, personality, interest, and others. So assessment is the broader, whereas testing is a narrow term.
No, yes.
Assessment, okay. Assessment is a process of collecting information through various techniques such as formal, informal, qualitative, quantitative. Whereas test is a standardized procedure of measurement designed to measure a characteristics such as ability, personality, interest, है ना, aptitude, that's one. And the third difference between these two is professional psychological assessment usually uh, also includes interview, demographic information, personal history, observation. These are the non-testing techniques. You will find more than 20 non-testing technique. Whereas psychological test, the intelligence, personality, mental health, these are the things. And next difference between psychological assessment and psychological test is an extremely complex process of solving problems in which psychological tests are often used as on the method of collecting relevant data. But in psychological testing, it is an objective and a standardized measure of the sample of behavior. Though I have big question mark on the objectivity of that with so many reasons which I talked about. And uh, this one, psychological assessment refers to any method used to measure the characteristics of the people. Anything you can say, but if you are depends upon the objective, which I will discuss later on. Whereas a psychological test, it is a task upon which people are asked to try their best. Okay, and the last one is the assessment process combines and evaluates all the information gathered about the individual, either the formal or non-formal way. Whereas a test provides only part of the picture about the person. If you are interested in intelligence test, you can talk only on this. If you are interested on that, talk on this. Now, come to our concern topic. Okay, that is non-testing technique. I think till here you are able to understand what are the testing technique, what is non-testing technique, what are the differences, and then why we are using non-testing technique. The simple reason is that from psychological test, you cannot get a clear-cut picture about the client or about the student or about the subject. So non-testing technique can be helpful and is always helpful in interpreting the result. Okay, you can understand whether your student or the client is giving the right responses or not. If you are able to observe the behavior during the test, you can say he is not serious and he has not given the right responses. He has given only tick 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 tick, either a yes or no, or sometime yes or no. Okay, so we have the experiences when we are collecting data. They are talking with someone and just putting the pencil and go ahead. And it is fact that when you conduct a psychological test, then you get some numerical values. So numerical values you will get and you can interpret. So maybe it is a misleading. So that is why we take help from the non-testing techniques. What are the non-testing techniques? Interview, you understand interview. They're structured or unstructured interaction between two people. One is ask the question, another reply. Maybe it is a structured and maybe unstructured. Then observation. I think it has been included in your syllabus. Then case study, cumulative records, sociometric technique, questionnaire, rating scales, anecdotal records, autobiography, so many things. But I think uh, observation method is there in your syllabus, which I'm going to discuss. And I think this observation is very, very important when you study the behavior of any individual. And it's the oldest method, I think. If you see the 14th, 15th, 16th century, okay, or 16th, 17th century, you take the Galileo and other people, they were applying this observation method, sitting on chair and observing the behavior of the people. They were used to observe the behavior of the birds, the animals, and even if you see the individual differences, you have heard the name of Galton and other people. They were um, uh, interested in understanding the pattern of stars and other things. So on what basis they gave the various theories? I think you people should think on the basis of their observation. They collected information, they collected data, and they proposed theories, which we nowadays, reading and we are teaching that. So observation is very, very. If you are keen observer, you can understand many things without taking psychology. But the difference is that when you say something about me on the basis of the observation, then the question I will put is that what is logic behind this? But if you conduct the psychological test, you will say that I have conducted the psychological test. This is the reliable, this is the valid, the norms are there, they are standardized, and that is why I am telling that you are liar. But on the basis of the observation, you cannot, though I am a liar. Is it clear? So if any guardian says that my I want to make my child a doctor, and you are telling that he is not capable of doctor, he is capable of engineer. Why you are telling? You can say that this is the standardized test, interest test. I have applied this and I found the result. On the basis of that, I am telling this. Okay. But observation, you cannot challenge it. This is the big difference between testing and non-testing. And sometimes the testing techniques, it saves the counselor. It saves the counselor. Okay, I have applied the Raven's standard progressive matrices, and it is worldwide used. I have conducted the interest vocational, a strong vocational test, and the career is this. So the judge will save you because you are applying a test which has been developed widely and used widely, and they are being used widely, so you can save yourself. But if you say that your child is not good, and if the guardian and somebody putting question you, why you are telling my child is not good in this area, and if you say that it is my observation, then the people will not accept it. This is the big difference. That so observation method. Now come to the school setting. In guidance and counseling, observation is the most commonly employed of all individual techniques. Mind it. Every psychologist, they apply observation method uh, in large. And I saw Rousseau, a great philosopher, he said that watch nature long and observe your pupil carefully before you say a word to him. A big, sentence for this. So before opening mouth about any student, you observe quietly and nicely. Okay? Before giving any statement about anybody, you observe, you just strong yourself. This is the clear cut. And for reliable and dependable observation, however, observation must be organized, planned. I will talk about this. So how you are going to use this method very clearly. Uh, Even the early psychologists, they were using this method. You see, uh, so many psychologists, they observed and they proposed the theory, and on the basis of repeated observations, try to formulate laws and generate principles. For example, law of association. You see how he gave, or even you see that Thorndike experiment. Okay, you see the Pavlov experiment. He was not psychologist. He was the physiologist. And when he came to know that on the foot step the saliva is coming out. This is the observation, best example of the observation. And this classical conditioning changed the whole learning aspects of the paradigm shift. And he got a Nobel Prize. Okay. So philosophers combined observation with logic and gave theories. If you are observing a child and you are reaching on a certain point, and if this point is pushed with the logic, then the people will accept you. Okay, and if only observation will not be will be accepted. So this observation used in the field of developmental, social psychology, organization, and so many. But what are the prerequisites of that? If we want to, I am not telling that only observation method is enough to understand the human behavior. But along with psychological test, if you are keen observer, then this will be a strong logic for you. So what are the requisite of good observation? Number one, proper planning, proper execution, recording of the observation and interpretation. Suppose you are interested to understand the honesty or accountability about any person, then you have to plan properly. You have to plan for the time. You have to put some question in your mind on what basis you are going to observe this. So proper planning is important. And then whatever you have thought in your mind, it will be properly executed. Suppose you have you have kept 5 points in your mind. So when you start observing someone, then 5 points should be executed. Then recording of the observation. Either you can apply the tape recording or other things or mobile recording or recording in your mind. It will work. And then most important aspect is interpretation. For any psychological test or non-testing, interpretation is very, very important aspect. So if your interpretation is good, generally the PhD scholars used to write, I found significant and 0.5 level and don't find on 0.1 level. What does it mean? It is meaningless unless until if you will not interpret the things. So for that you have to give the logic. And in psychology, when you interpret any result by saying that found significant, so I accept null hypothesis, it will not work. Generally, I don't accept this. But you have to write the logic behind this. If something is happened, then what are the reasons for that? And for that, you need observation. I'm telling my own example. I did a PhD in 1993, and I was the first person who collected data on railway guards and drivers. So I used to travel in the train with the drivers, and there is a Tundla junction. It's a big junction. So I was one of the variable of my research was occupational stress, and I found that the people, the drivers and guards are tremendous, under pressure, and the result was that moderate level of stress. So when I was defending my PhD viva, then I said, sir, this is my result, and I don't agree with my result. Then the examiner asked, I think one girl from BHU. Who is that girl? One girl from BHU is attending this program. So AP Singh from BHU, he was my examiner, and I used the scale of Srivastava sir and AP Singh. So he was interested to know. And then I said, sir, but I am not agree with this, my finding that the level of stress is moderate. And you know that moderate level of stress is always good for any type of performance. Then he said, then what? I said, sir, they are working under stress, but they have not given the right responses. Then he asked the reason for that. Then I said, sir, they thought that I am the government employee and I want to know their performance. So this was my observation. So if you are giving observation with your logic, it's good. And I think everybody knows that types of observation: naturalistic observation, structured observation, unstructured, and participation. And two of them are very, very important, and which we apply in our day-to-day life. Naturalistic observation means sitting away from the real scene without informing your subject. If you observe a particular, suppose there is a mob, election mob, you are sitting on your roof and you try to understand the mob behavior, and people don't know. And if people will know about you that I am being observed, then they will be cautious about that. Okay, so it's very good. And this method is very, very, if you try to understand the behavior of a classroom, so you sit away and you observe a single child, then you will be able to understand the real psychology of the student. Is it clear? I think. And if you understand the birds behavior, if you understand the animal behavior, what does National Geography do? They sit on the top of the any tree or the any roof, and they try to. And I think this is the best way to understand the natural behavior of your child, of your brother or your sister, or your student. You leave your child alone. He should not know that he is being observed. He should not be cautious. Then the real psychology will come before you. And this behavior may not be reflected by conducting a psychological test. Am I right or not? Tell me.
Yes, sir. If they become conscious about that they are being observed, they behaves like differently, which are
Differently, yes.
not accepted.
Yes. Even we are cautious. If
Yeah.
my vice chancellor will sit here
Yeah.
and your vice chancellor will sit here, then I will not be able to speak in natural manner. Okay. And another is participant observation. I think it's also clear in real life situation. But what you have to do this? You have to build up a rapport with these people. उनके रंग में रंग जाना है आपको, वो जैसे करते हैं वैसे ही करना है, उनके फेथ को आपको जीतना है, उनके ट्रस्ट. Unless until if you win the trust of these people, the real behavior you will not be able to understand. Okay, so I think these two important points are very, very important. If you're doing PhD, you distribute your questionnaire, okay, and try to read the behavior of the participants, how they are answering. You will able to know that. But many students they don't do, and many teachers they used to say, okay, you go and collect the data, come back, analyze, and give. So my one of my I think Devu Bhai, he knows, two teachers of my department, they developed 80 psychological tests within 2.5 years. And I'm the person who has developed one psychological test on emotional abuse in 3 years. So if somebody asked me that how it has been happened, I said, okay, these people should be given Nobel Prize. If it is 5-point scale or 3-point scale or yes or no, some numerical value you will get and you will interpret. So people are doing all these. That is why psychology is failed in India. There, even the government of India, I think more than 100 PhD is being awarded per day in India. You find the data. But what is the use of that? Nothing. We are cheating with ourselves. We are cheating with the institutions. We are cheating with the government. So honesty is very, very important. Now, what are the merit of that? What are the merit of observation method? Being a record of actual behavior of a child, it is more reliable, valid, objective, and scientific. If you are interested to understand the behavior of 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years children, then psychological test, they will not reply. The non-testing technique can be also applied on the animals, on the those who cannot be able to respond. So if you are interested to understand their behavior, where you cannot apply the psychological test, then you have to apply non-testing technique, and observation is good. Okay, then it is economical one, because it don't need laboratory and costly apparatus. If you go and see, the psychological test is in lakhs, and after 3 or 4 years it will be discarded. So observation method, it is economical. We don't need any laboratory, any apparatus like Wilhelm Wundt. It is flexible and can be used in gathering data in many situations. Observation method you can apply anywhere. You go and sit near any, on the bank of the river, you observe the behavior. If you go to the bus stand, you can observe the behavior. If you go to the railway, you can observe the behavior. If you go to the airport, you can observe. Anywhere you can observe. Even sitting in your own house, you can observe the behavior of your mother and father. But you have to be very, very keen. And it can be applied to observe the behavior of children of all ages. As I pointed out, of course, the younger the child, the easier to observe him. This method has been found very useful with shy children. Huh? अब्बान बेटा चाय खाओ आपा से चाय बनाने के लिए. So those who are shy, who they don't want to give response on this, then this method is very good. And mostly in school, you will find many type of children. Some are shy, some is very active, someone is very overactive. So you can find out. It can be applied to observe the behavior in individuals as well as the group in the both the situation. On the this individual as well as a group you can apply, and this method can be used with little training. But training is important. What type of training you need? You just you think. If you will speak before someone, you will not get the responses. So you have to speak less. You have not to tell your identity. I mean, identity, no, but you what is being observed, you don't reveal it. Then it is not restricted to test situation, but it is applied to the naturally occurring situation of life. So these are the merits of observation method. And being a school psychologist, being a counselor, we have to rely more on that, and that will add with the testing one. Okay, then there are some limitations of observation method, because it is very difficult to get trained observer. Untrained observer may gather superfluous and irrelevant data. If a person is not trained in this field, he cannot take or he cannot he cannot get the right data, and if the data is wrong, then your result will be wrong. It is subjective in nature, because the difference between subjective and objective. Even I pointed out that in psychological tests, all the time you cannot get the objective one. Means you cannot get the similar type, same result. Suppose Mona Lisa is conducting intelligence test on a group. If Upasana is going to conduct, if Sayanti is going to, these three people will get different type of result. And in the same way, if the psychological test, which is more reliable and valid, cannot give the objective one, but it gives something. So observation method is subjective in nature, because generally we interpret with our opinion, we collect the data with our questions. So may subjective, because your perception, Upasana perception, Sayanti perception, my perception about anything will be different. We'll collect the data as per our personality makeup. or caste. Sometimes caste is there, sometimes class is there, sometimes education is there. So subjectivity is there. Sometimes artificially comes in the behavior that is generally we call crocodile tears or behavior of the hypocrites. If the client will able to tell that I am being observed, so he will reflect sometimes artificial thing. Okay, so sometimes we have to wait for longer time for the occurrence of the event. A particular, suppose if you are interested to understand the behavior of the devotees during puja pandal, so you have to wait for at least for 1 year. If you want to compare the last year the group behavior on the pandals and this year, coming year, there you have to wait for at least 1 year. This is the problem with this method, and some personal problems and experiences cannot be observed like this. As I pointed out, uh, you cannot observe some sexual behavior or some casteism behavior. You cannot, that because the people will not going to reveal. This is the problem with Indian culture, and really our culture is something different than others. We try to hide the negative points of the others, particularly negative points of our relative, negative points of our uh, family members and kids. Okay, so and with the help of observation we can observe the external behavior of the individual. We cannot understand the internal behavior unless it is not reflected on that. Another limitation is record may not be written with 100% accuracy. If you are recording something, so it's very difficult to record all the things. And observation is subjective of two kinds. One is sample error, another is observer error. Sample error, if the method of observation is not correct, then you will not find the accurate result. And observer error. It's very difficult to concentrate on a particular point for a longer period. So maybe observer sometimes will be the monotonous. So these are the limitations of this. But what are the advantages of observation method? It is regarded as easiest one, the simplest method of data collection is the observation method. And if the person is trained, have you heard the name of Salim Ali? Who was that? Pasna?
Sir, he's related to bird
Yes.
Bird observer, sir.
bird
Yeah.
observer.
Yeah. He was the first man of India who started this course in India. And what he used to do, sitting, uh, on the top of any hill or in a jungle or near the river to understand the migratory birds. He did not use any scientific method. On the observation of that, he established institute, written so many books, produced so many PhD. So this is the importance of observation method. So it depends upon the person who is the trained. So high accuracy is there, but condition is that the person should be the trained one. Then it's an appropriate tool. The observation method is essential for study on infants or the kids who are unable to undertake the details of research work and cannot express themselves clearly. Okay, if you cannot talk with 5 years old boy, you cannot expect that he will read and he will give his responses, and even he will speak with you. So, and less cooperation is needed for that. Less cooperation, if you, at I know observation, you can understand the mob behavior. Thousands of people understand mob behavior. So Again, there are some disadvantages of that. It is not possible to observe all behaviors. As I pointed out, something, if you want to hide something, you cannot. Then difficult to convert data into the qualitative form. Difficult to convert the data in qualitative form. You get the quantity of that, and different observer, different type of interpretation on a particular point. Everybody will give the different types of observation and give the different type of interpretation. How the actually there is a importance of the perception. The perception, everything depends upon the individual perception. Your perception will be different, my perception will be different, then Upasana perception is different, then Ghosh perception will be different. So when the perception will be different, then we will interpret differently. Then behavior cannot be expected to repeat. Similar type of behavior cannot be expected to repeat again. So this is the big a difficulty with that, due to the fluctuation, due to the some of the reasons, due to the intensity and stimulus and the duration of the stimulus, which we generally taught in attention. So it's very difficult that similar type of behavior may be expected in similar type of situation and even a same type of person. If you give some stimulus on the same individual in similar situation, another time you'll get different type of responses, and enough possibility of observer's bias. This is the big thing. It's a big thing, because generally we act whatever inside, we act accordingly. Okay, biasness is there. Sometimes the caste biasness is there, sometimes gender biasness is there, sometimes the class biasness there. So many. Our culture is very, very, diverse culture. So I cannot understand that. Though I was in Bengal for many months, still I was unable to understand the behavior pattern of the Bengali people. I saw that if there are 6 members in the family, 6 are different. Some are supporting the Tribunal, some are supporting the Congress, some are supporting the others. But if you come to Bihar and UP, the whole family will be supporting one party. Maybe some difference. So biasness is there always. Even I found that if I praise some student, they will appreciate me. But if I scold some student, he or she will be biased. Hey, he is not a good teacher. He cannot teach. He does not. But if I favor someone, so biasness is always there. And it's time consuming. You need, it needs much patience of that. So patience is very important. For a, if you read about the Galileo, if you read about the Carter, they had the patience like anything. So observer, because he is not going to reveal his name, his identity and other things. So sitting and just watching, and it will take more and more time. And sometimes it's very, expensive one. Observation is very costly affair. It requires plenty of time, strict and detailed work and high cost. And past life remains unknown, because the person who is going to be observed, we don't know about his past life. So it is all about observation method. So till here, I'm taking rest for 1 or 2 minutes. It is better to ask question from me, or if you want to suggest something, to suggest me. Don't hesitate. I'm observing, and it's this time 7 to 9 is a difficult time. Everybody wants to enjoy in Calcutta. Generally, he or she wants to go outside for chat and other thing, and you are forced to sit here. Uh, I know I can observe your behavior, waiting for the close of my in talk. So you are please ask question. Santi, Mona Lisa is shy, having shy nature.
There always, but biasness, we have learned that we should not be biased in our research work, right?
Yes, you are correct. You are
And
correct.
if there I mean, if there should be a biasness in our research, um, or in our this guidance and school psychological जो हम लोग पढ़
You
रहे
can
हैं,
you can speak in Bengali and Hindi too. No issue.
I think it will hamper our testing method, right? If we are getting biased in our observation.
Even both testing or non-testing method. I will suggest you. There is a book, and the title of book is IQ in Question. IQ in Question. You note down.
IQ.
And you read IQ in question. Intelligence quotient in question.
In question.
What the American people 50 years back, they gave money to the researchers and they said, just you prove that blacks are inferior than whites.
Oh my God.
Yes. And same thing happened in India.
Oh.
Regarding the caste and class. The big people, they speak one sentence for a particular community, particular class, and then it is flaunted. The propaganda. Okay? So biasness is always there. But being a school psychologist or being a counselor, you have to be accountable to yourself. That is more important. If you are accountable, even not a religious one, if you are accountable, then you cannot be a bias. But it is something which is embedded in our mind too. You cannot degrade your parents in spite of knowing that they are doing something bad. You cannot criticize your son or daughter in spite of knowing that he is not up to the mark. If you are a teacher and you give, you know, this is backup in mind that is my son and relative, you give good marks. Something is there, but it should not be beyond the limit. वैसा नहीं होना चाहिए. But when you will think that I'm accountable to my job, I have to reveal the reality and the honesty, then biasness can be decreased. It cannot be vanished, but it can be, the degree can be lower down. Okay? So this is all about the observation method. Now I will talk about anecdotal records. Anecdotal records. This is the second method which has been included in your syllabus. And this is the oldest method. Okay, and I have taken one definition given by Randall, who gave definition in 1936, and it's a very good. One single definition can open the mind of the people regarding the anecdotal. Anecdotal means any a statement or an event. A record of some significant item of conduct. Listen, if you are employed in the school, then you will come to know, many students, and every student is a history and a story in itself. And if you talk the small kids, they will say something. If you talk this, so a record of some significant item of conduct. Here, conduct means how he is behaving. Again, the word behavior comes here. So, repeating again, a record of some significant item of conduct, a record of an episode in the life of a student, a work picture of a student in action. These three things you have to keep in mind. The unique, event, unique episode, the teacher's best effort at making work a snapshot of at the moment of the incident, because mostly the teachers are along with the students. If we take some note on that, and he has used a snapshot, and nowadays in 1936 he has used the word snapshot, and today we are very much familiar what is a snapshot. Like this, I am taking a snapshot. Okay, within a second, I took a snapshot and I grabbed the photographs of all these. So you can understand what is the meaning of a snapshot, and regarding in the context of the behavior of a student. At the moment of the incident, any narrative of events in which the student takes such a part as to reveal something which may be significant about his personality. It's a very comprehensive one and very good to understand what anecdotal records are. I repeat it again, a record of some significant item of conduct. Suppose he misbehaved with someone. This will be the record, anecdotal record. Then a record of an episode in the life of the student. That means unique thing. If something unique happens with the child and the teacher has recorded or the counselor has recorded, it reveals so many things. I'm telling one story. I was coordinator of a student counseling center. Aligarh, I established that center. So we have in Aligarh, we have 10 schools from primary to senior secondary. I'm professor. So I planned that I have to work for the university. So I used to go to the schools of university schools. One day I went to the blind school, and I talked on mental health. One girl, she stood up and out of contest, she said, I want to murder someone. So a snapshot of that. Then I called the principal and said, you please send this girl to the center with a lady teacher. So she came. And in first meeting, she did not reveal anything. And I was thinking that something unusual has happened with that girl. She was in class 10. Next time she came and she revealed something. Next time she came and I talked something about, and she was the blind, and I was observing her face. She said, she revealed that mother is entangled with some rickshawala. And mother was not knowing that this girl is not able to see, will be able to understand this. So such event can be taken under the anecdotal record. I think you got the point. If something is unusual,
moments. Unusual or specific?
Yeah, unusual, specific, which catch the attention of the people.
Yeah.
And it will not happen again and again. Okay. And it's up two kind. One is description of the specific event. There are 4 kinds of that. Number 1, description of the specific event, description of incident followed by the interpretation, description followed by first interpretation and then discussion. And last one is a running account in which description and interpretation are intermixed. So this will also help you in understanding the behavior of a child. So a single episode, a single event will be helpful to understand in understanding the behavior of a child. So what are the importance of that? A good anecdotal record, and it is basically being maintained by the teacher with the help of the counselor, because a counselor cannot maintain all the records. So section wise, a teacher is being given section A, B, fifth, sixth, or other. So with the help of teacher, you can able to maintain the anecdotal record of each and every child. Okay, and the importance is that a good anecdotal record includes a specific action, direct observation, and a fair sequence of record. All three add to a proper assessment of the child. Okay. Number two importance is that an anecdotal record helps teachers understand their students' behavior. Something unusual happens. Anecdotes on one student should present many different views of the person. Background information helps along with the anecdotal records. Every event should not be necessarily recorded. The anecdotal record is a selective one. You cannot do all this. But what are the disadvantages of that? It is very difficult to get objective reports. Always, it happens with the non-testing techniques. Objectivity, there is a lack of objectivity. But it is the supportive one. The anecdotal disadvantage of this is the play of subjective cannot be ruled out. It is difficult to summarize and organize anecdotal records so as to make them usable. It lacks objectivity. But my point is that, and if your teachers have included this point, it means it has some worth. It gives something. Generally, we are copying the Western, education system, and I know that only 20 or 25 students are given for one teacher. But in India, this schooling is a lucrative business, and in one class you will find 60, 70 students. In private, I'm talking about the private, and forget about the government. You cannot expect. I did a research, a project on school achievement, and I found that in Haryana, those teachers who are taking the class 5, mathematics and Hindi classes, they failed in that subject too. So this is a reality of India. And if you write the Haryana government or the government of India, then I will be beaten badly, and I will be taken on task. Okay. So generally we are copying, but for the sake of information, you should understand. The next one is rating one. Okay. I think I have only 15 minutes left. Rating scale. Rating scales are devised to rate the extent or degree to which particular trait possessed by individual. Like honesty, on 5-point scale, you rate, right? Regularity, right? Like discipline. So a teacher has to rate a student on 5 point, or maybe regular, most regular, not regular, from 1 to 5. It also gives some information regarding some traits it gives. They are preferred over description of an observer as they provide a more systematic format. Rating scale are classified as scales based on checklist, a scoring method, or ranking method, and graphic scales. So it depends upon the person how he is rating on a particular trait. If you want to understand a unique type of client in the school, a peculiar type of student in school, then you have to take help of testing as well as non-testing technique. Observation is with yours, it is with you. Anecdotal records with the teachers. Rating you can also find out. So what are the advantages of this rating scale? Rating scales are also used for testing the validity of many objective instruments like paper pencil test. So I think a lot of things are there. I will send the PowerPoint, and you can read it. And I think the last one is second last one is checklist. Checklist is also a tool designed to direct the observer's attention to a set of personality characteristics or traits which may be present in the individuals which is rated. Checklist, prepare a checklist, and the observer try to understand. Basically, in all these testing and non-testing, we are interested to understand the personality of the child, or we are trying to understand the behavior of the child. And only one point is that how to make them suitable, more achiever, and good citizen. I think everybody will agree with me that we want that he should be the honest, he should be the regular, he should be the hard worker, he should be a good achiever. For that, we are doing all these things. So what are the advantages of this? Advantage of this technique is that it provides the client with an opportunity to express his or her feeling and fears privacy without any thought of reprisal. So these are the advantages, and this advantage is also some disadvantages. This technique biasness is also there. The observer checklist does not enable the latter to indicate the degree. Again, there is a fluctuation and differences in behavior, so you cannot. Another method is a cross-sectional method. Anyway, only I think 10 to 15 minutes are left. So I'm talking about the what are the cross-sectional method. A cross-sectional study involves the review of information from the population demographic at a specific point of time. Sectional study techniques would study select groups of a population in different age and demographic. By taking this approach, any differences that exist between the demographies would be attributed to the characteristics instead of something that happens. And what are the advantages of that? This study takes place during a specific moment in the time. No variable manipulation occurs with a cross-sectional study. Cross-sectional is time-consuming more. This study method provides excellent controls over the measurement process because we get much time. Then researchers can look at several useful characteristics at once. So many things you can study at in this method. It provides relevant information in real time updates. So these are the advantages, and disadvantages are it requires entire population to be studied to create useful data. And like sometime the government of India conduct a survey to understand so many things. Disadvantage also is there. Personal biasness can influence the data from the cross-sectional studies. The questions asked during the cross-sectional studies may lead to a specific result. So these are the disadvantages of this. And the last one is longitudinal method. And I think longitudinal study requires repeated observation of the same variable over a specific time of period. These may be shorter examination or the design to collect the long-term data. Longitudinal, a very, you need to spend a long time of that. So I will send my this PowerPoint to you. It's very difficult to me to cover all these aspects because I need at least 50 minutes on each method. So Devu Bhai has given only 2 hours, and I was asking for 3 hours. So, and I said that it's not good to the students should only listen me, but they should participate so that we can able to understand. Otherwise, we cannot justify with the students. Just sitting and listening. It will be the boring one. So if you have any type of question, you please ask. We have 5 to 10 minutes more. Otherwise, my data is, it's less than 20%. So maybe any time it will be shut down.
Sir, cross-sectional study, can you define, please?
Sorry?
Cross-sectional study.
Cross-sectional method. Disadvantage you want?
Study.
What do you want?
Could you please
Cross-sectional.
explain
Sir, just
more
define
about
this,
this
please, sir.
study?
Your voice is not clear. You want what is cross-sectional method?
Yes, sir.
Study?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
A cross-sectional study involves the review of information from a population demography at a specific point of time, or you can say that it is the study technique would study selected group of people in different age of demographies, or you can say that by taking this approach, any differences that exist between the demographies. Do you understand demographies? What
Yes,
is the
sir.
demography of Kolkata? So by taking this approach, any differences that exist between the demographies would be attributed the characteristics instead of something that happened. You are be able to identify the special characteristics of that. Okay.
Yes.
I will
So,
send this. I will send this PowerPoint. Okay, and that
sir,
will.
do we use cross-sectional method in individual personality test?
Sorry.
Do we
That
use?
no. Your there is some some issues with your connectivity. I'm not getting, but I think that will help to understand the behavior or the personality of the child with the help of that, because it will tell the specific thing, okay, which characteristics is influencing the personality of a child. Okay.
Okay.
We will be the specific. We will be the pinpoint of that.
Okay. Okay.
Upasana is sitting, calmly.
No, sir, I'm listening this. It's totally new.
If you have listened me, then you ask the question. Anyway, so Devu bhai, should you stop here? Who is conducting this program, please?
Yes, sir.
Dibya Shri ji.
Yes, sir.
Please come on live.
Thank you, Professor Shahalam. Very nicely you have covered all the issues, especially the non-testing approach and the disadvantage and advantages issues, observation method, anecdotal report, cross-sectional, longitudinal, also the rating scale. I think the students, if you have any question, you can clear your doubt. And sir has started the lecture very nicely. That is, what is psychology and what is the counseling. So okay, just very basic question. Sir has started all the questions to you. So I think you must be prepared for your future area also, because when you will face the viva or interview in any particular area, you must be very much cautious. That is, people will ask this question, that is, what is psychology? So psychology is not the science of mind like that. So the main thing that is we are studying psychology, 4 aspects. Number 1, the antecedent. Number 1 is the description. Number 2 is the description. Number 3 is the correlation. And number 4 is prediction. So when we are following this type of methods, what Professor Shah Alam has discussed, okay, for example, in case of the cross-sectional method or longitudinal method or observation method, all those methods, we are studying the description of the behavior. How can we describe the behavior? And this description is very important, particularly to develop any instrument for measurement of the behavior. Okay. Another important part is related to when we are discussing about the longitudinal approach, etc. Then we can find out the prediction of the behavior. Okay. And we can find out the correlation with the specific behavior. Sir has told you about the demographic factors, how the demographic factors, they are contributing for the change in the behavior. So we are learning from him that some of the antecedents are there. Okay. So when we will study the behavior of the client, then we have to study 4 things. Number 1, description of the behavior. Number 2, what factors are contributing for the change in the behavior. Number 3, what are the correlates of the behavior? And number 4, what is your prediction about the behavior? Okay. So I am again thankful to Professor Shah Alam for giving his valuable time to our students. And Professor Shah Alam is basically the office bearer of Indian School Psychology Association. And we are following the book of INSPA. And Sir has told you very clearly that is, you are enough fortunate to learn the school psychology first time, because there is very little scope for learning the school psychology. Sir has told that is Aligarh Muslim University is very famous place, but still Aligarh Muslim University is not able to start the school psychology course. Okay, but we are very much fortunate that in the Eastern India, we have started the school psychology course. So in near future, there will be high demand on the school psychology, and you will act as the facilitator of the school psychology in near future to different colleges and universities. So now I am requesting, if you have any doubt, please you clear your doubt. Otherwise, we will end the program. How is the class? Shayanti, how is the class?
Nice, sir. We have learned so many things, and we have enjoyed so much it.
Thank you. Thank
It
you.
was so much interactive class.
Yeah. And Shar has given a lot of the example from his own life also. That is very rare. So you have now you have very clear idea about the reality of the study now. Okay. So I think there will be no question. So I'm requesting Mona Lisa, please start the prayer.
Please close your hand. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnascha Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasisyate. Om Santi Santi Santi. Thank you, sir.
Thank
Can,
you.
can you please translate this?
Mona
the
Lisa,
slogan?
please. Hello,
Yes,
Mona
sir.
Lisa. You have the English version you have, right?
Yes, sir.
So Mona Lisa, please you translate in English.
Sir, 1 minute, sir.
If it is not, you send me. If it is
Yes,
not,
I
you
will
send.
send
No,
No,
you,
no.
sir.
She is very much aware.
I'll tell, sir. I'll tell.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Why I'm asking this? Unless until if you not understand the meaning of that, then it
Yes,
will not be remain in our mind.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Now we regularly maintain.
That's good. That's good. Now I do understand that she is praying for the peace.
Yes, that
Yes,
is
sir.
true.
Yes,
Yes, peace.
yes, sir.
So this is much needed.
Shanti, peace.
Shanti,
Another
Shanti.
one is the Shahana Bhavatu. It means we will work together.
Yeah.
Shahana Bhavatu, Shahano Bhunaktu, Shahobiryang Karavavahi. So whatever our energy, we will invest our total energy to work together.
Yeah.
So that is the basic idea of this prayer.
But a big idea is that if we are able to maintain healthy relationship, that will bring peace and a smile in our life.
Sure.
And there is a longitudinal studies conducted by Harvard University.
Acha. That's good. That's good.
Okay. So Devu bhai, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
if
So
you need me,
we can take one picture with Sam. Okay. So I'm requesting all of you, please open your video. Mona Lisa, Deepasri, are you here?
Sir,
Please
I will
open
tell
your
the meaning. Oh, may we all be protected. May we all be nourished. May we work together with great energy. May our intellect be sharpened. Let there be no animosity amongst us. Om, peace, peace, peace.
Yeah.
That is the meaning, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sir.
So Mona Lisa, next time when you will start the prayer, at that time we will tell that this English.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
Then I think everybody will be.
Yes,
Orunika,
sir.
you are not clear. Your picture not clear. Possibly the light is not on you.
Now it's clear.
Yeah, now you are clear. Thank you. Thank you. So we will take one joint photo. I'm requesting all of you, please take the photo. I have to check whether it is working or not.
Everybody is in a mood of smiling. If you will not take photograph, it will not continue for longer time.
No. They are very much outgoing. For that is it, they have taken the school psychology course. Okay, thank you everybody. Good night.
Okay, lastly,
Wishes to all of you.
Devu bhai, thank you very much for asking me, and hopefully we'll meet in future. Thank you very much.
Sure.
And thanks all the students for patience listening. They have a great patience to bear me for 2 hours. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.